That'd be Budweiser, and the way that came about was Scott and I came up with an idea for a bar game, and we were intrigued by the idea of sliding beers and empty mugs down a bar, and what kind of action you could get with a bartender and some angry customers or some happy customers. And we did some initial design work on that, and we went to Bally Midway. And there was a fellow at Bally Midway who was very good at getting licenses. I think his name was Tom Neiman. And he went out and talked to Budweiser in St. Louis, got them excited, and we all went down and talked to them some more, and Budweiser was on board.
Bally Midway at the time had really good cabinet people. So we suggested a cabinet that looked like a bar. They put a brass rail at the bottom of the cabinet where you could rest your foot while you're sitting on a stool playing the game. They put metal cup holders on the control panel where you could rest your drink, preferably a Budweiser. And the Budweiser tappers looked like, or the tappers to pour beer actually looked like Budweiser tappers. For the root beer version, they changed the cabinet just slightly, where they put some extra stickers on the cabinet to say root beer, and that they changed the Budweiser logos to root beer logos.
Well, we tested Tapper first in the Snuggery, and that was a new kind of testing for us. We'd previously only tested in arcades, and so I think Scott and I really enjoyed an opportunity to go test this in the evenings at the Snuggery, and it was exciting for us to watch players who were having a good time in the bar kind of wander over and get excited about a beer drinking game, a Budweiser game, and we enjoyed watching them, and we learned a lot from those initial tests. We knew we had a winner when we watched people play.
I've always had sort of an eclectic taste in music. In college I got into a lot of alternative stuff. I was a big fan of Devo and Talking Heads, the Ramones. I used to listen to that a lot in my office while I was designing the characters. I had a lot of fun putting safety pins through their heads and mohawks on the characters. And most of the other designers on the project didn't really care for that kind of stuff, so I tried to keep it to myself as much as possible. But it was kind of fun to bring the music scene of the time and put it into the video game. It kind of dates the whole piece.
Well, we worked on several together. The first one was Domino Man. I had a minor role in that, but I think Rich and Elaine Ditton were really the drivers on that one. And then after that I worked on a game called Wacko with Scott. We were matching aliens and mismatching aliens, and it was really a lot of fun. You get some interesting combinations. I still look back and I like that game very, very much. And then we came up with an interesting idea of a two-player competitive game, which was one of the first. There were a few that preceded it, but you were a logger and you were playing against another logger trying to knock trees on each other. And we had a log rolling round in there, and we really had a lot of fun with that one. It was almost in the same vein as Tapper, but a little bit different play mechanics. So we worked on some interesting stuff.
Back in those days, creators of games were really not allowed to put their names or credits into the game, so we kind of snuck it in as an Easter egg. We really weren't supposed to, but we did anyways. During the attract scene, while the word Tapper is filling up with liquid, either beer or root beer, if you're holding all the controls down and press the player 1 start and player 2 start at the same time, our credits will come up on the screen. were designing all the characters for the game. We had a lot of fun animations, and after they would drink the beers, some of them would burp. We thought, wouldn't that be a kick to have a burp sound in the game? So we contacted Texas Instruments to see if they had any kind of speech chips that we could do to use for the game. They had a speech specialist at the time who brought us over to their office, supplied us with a 6-pack of beer. We all sat around a microphone drinking beer and belching into it, and we ended up with a pretty neat chip full of our belches. We put it in the game, and after almost every beer they would belch, and it was very, very funny, but it got pretty obnoxious, and we all decided that Budweiser probably wouldn't be too thrilled with the idea, so we scrapped it.
I can think back to my Super Sprint development system, and it was, multi-layers of boards, wires running everywhere. It only worked if I had a coffee cup, a styrofoam coffee cup that I'd wedged in between the first 2 boards, because if they were any closer, too much heat was being generated.
Dave Weavenson Memorial Coffee Cup.
Yeah, that's right. That's exactly. It was a technician on the project, Dave Weavenson. He made it all happen. There were other technicians as well, but the development systems back then weren't as elegant as they are now. They were homemade.